And we are back to go over the practice problems on the rest of your notes sheet here. I had to step away for a second, so that's why I kind of split this into two. So we're going to go through these. I'm going to kind of skip the checks. So on your assignment, it'll have you checking, so I'm just going to leave that for you to do as you move on. So, following our 6 steps that we have here from above, we're just going to follow those as we go when we can. Sometimes you won't need to do some of these steps, and we will see that kind of happening as we roll through. So, number 1 here, step 1 is to distribute our 6 into our parentheses here. So, multiply both pieces times that 6. So this whole line will be 4p plus 3 equals 6 times p is 6p plus 6 times 1 is 6, and then we have that minus 1 still hanging out at the end that we don't want to forget about. Step 2 is to combine our like terms. On the left-hand side of my equal sign, we don't have any like terms. We can't combine any of those together. But on the right, we've got 2 constants. We have a plus 6 and a minus 1 here for us. So we're just going to combine those up, just like we read them. So we have left over 4p plus 3 equals 6p, and 6 minus 1 is going to leave us with a plus 5. Now from before, we saw that it didn't matter which side we move our variables to, but to keep things nice and simple for myself, I like to always move my variables to the left-hand side of my equal sign. So I'm just going to do that for all 4 of these to keep my rhythm here. So we've got minus 6p to move that away from here. I have to do the same thing to the other side. So 4p minus 6p is negative 2p, and I have my plus 3 still left over equals 5. It just kind of cancels out on the other side there for us, goes away. Now we just have a nice simple 2-step equation, which we've had plenty of practice with. We can do these in our sleep, so let's just do those 2 steps. We're going to subtract 3, and we're going to have, I'm going to move it up here to the right, negative 2p is equal to 2. And divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. P is equal to negative 1. Now to check it, we would plug negative 1 back in everywhere that we have a p, and then evaluate that. So we would follow our order of operations and make sure that one side is actually equal to the other. So I'm going to leave that for on your assignment where it tells you to. You will do the check there. We did it in the previous example, so we'll be okay. All right, number 2. Well, step 1 is to distribute. And there's no parentheses here, nothing outside of them to distribute in by multiplying, so we get to skip step 1. How nice. Step 2, we need to combine our like terms. We need to simplify each side of our equal sign. And, wouldn't you know it, it's already simplified on each side for us. So we get to skip straight to step 3 here. So we're going to move our variables around to one side of the equal sign. So I have an a over on the right-hand side. I'm just going to subtract that away to get rid of it. Do the exact same to the other side. So we have 3 a's left over, and plus 5 equals 11. Once again, nice simple 2-step equation. Let's get it. I need to get my 3a by itself first, so I'm going to minus 5 and minus 5. 3 times some number a that we don't know should be equal to 6. Because 11 minus 5 leaves us with that 6 there. And finally, divide by 3, divide by 3. A is equal to 2. So if I plug 2 back in for A, let's do the check here. This will be an easy one. There's not too much going on. 4 times 2 plus 5, is that equal to 2 plus 11? 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. And on the other side, 2 plus 11 is 13. So we get the same thing on both sides. We maintained the equality. This checks out. Now, if you get different things on either side of the equal sign there, then we know we either made a mistake in our solving and we got the wrong solution, or we just made a order of operations mistake in our check, and we might need to double check our double check. So that's why checking is important here, making sure that we maintained the equality. All right, let's move on to number 3. Step 1, distribute. So we're going to have our 21x plus 6 equals 5 times 4x is going to give us 20x. And 5 times a negative 1 is minus 5. That's an ugly looking 5. There we go. All right, distributed. Next step is to combine like terms. There's no like terms I can combine, so we're just going to move on. Move your variable to one side, minus 20x, minus 20x. And x plus 6 is equal to negative 5. Final step here, we're not going to have to divide or multiply because our x is kind of by itself with just something added to it. It's not being times or divided by, so we're going to subtract 6, and be done with it. In this case, x will equal negative 11 for us. Negative 5 minus 6 is negative 11. If we were told to check, we can go plug negative 11 back in and make sure that we have the correct solution. All right, number 4 looks kind of different than all of the other ones we've done, and as I remember, these were some of the multi-two-step equations that gave us trouble last year. But this entire stuff up here is kind of a group of stuff divided by 4. So this isn't just the variable being divided by something. So I can't just start subtracting willy-nilly from up top here. Because of this grouping thing going on, we're going to have to multiply by 4 in order to get rid of the 4 on both sides there. So because it was divided by 4, we have to multiply. We are undoing. So we are going to be left with 3x plus 5 is equal to, well, negative 2x times 4 is negative 8x. This one's going to look a little silly with how I like to do it, but I'm going to maintain that I like to move my variables to the left-hand side to keep things nice. So this will generate an extra step for us here, but it's going to keep myself from getting lost. So I'm going to add 8x and add 8x. So what's going to happen here is that will become 11x plus 5 is equal to 0. And then we are going to minus 5 minus 5. 11 times x is equal to negative 5. We may get some fractions. It can happen. And in this case, x will be equal to negative 5/11ths, which is no big deal. We are allowed to have fractions. Let me just go make sure that we will get a fraction here and that I didn't make a mistake, because it happens. Double checking. Negative 5/11ths, wouldn't you know it? Right there for us. Whoops. Alrighty, so those were the examples from our paper. In the next thing, so I said that there will be 3 kind of video shots for today. So on the next one, we're going to go through some other examples with all kinds of different stuff going on. Distributing with negatives, distributing with pluses or minuses inside of the parentheses. So we're going to get all kinds of distribution practice here as well. So I will catch you on the next one.